Hey guys, welcome to the Late Late Show. I'm your host Matt from Lakers UK, here with you all once again. Here joining me are the regulars in Jonathan and Cole, as you can see. How are you both doing, lads? Are you good?
All good. Still champions, so all good.
Yeah, still coming down from that major high. So, yeah, all great.
Yeah, as we all are. I'm feeling a little bit better because I've started to get some sleep back. So I'm feeling a little bit more human again.
Definitely.
And as people that are watching live can see, we've got a familiar face in here. Some might call it a celebrity face, maybe in Lakers Twitter.
Who are those? Who are those? I think the sum is those one or two people, but I'll take it.
Yeah, you probably recognize his voice by now. We've got Mr. LakeShowScoop, Kenny.
Yep.
How are you doing? I really appreciate you joining us once again.
I've been on cloud 9 since Sunday, so I've been feeling great. It's been 10 long years, so feeling great.
Yeah, definitely. It's been great to get you back on. And what we're going to do is we're going to start off the show by, on the last episode, me, Jonathan, and Cole had a little bit of a celebratory episode. I'm not sure if it ended up being good content or bad content. I'm not sure. I think it came out all right, but we kind of just didn't have a plan. We just threw it in there and just got our emotions out there. How were you feeling after that championship win, being over in LA as well?
It was amazing. Like the whole buildup of this season when it started, when we got AD and LeBron, we're like, all right, this is it. The Lakers are going to be great. They're instant contenders. And then, goes a whole season, and then the passing of Kobe, and then just the season's stopping, and then us going to Orlando, and then the first round, second round, third round, and then finally culminating into that win, in that Game 6 win. It was very, very surreal. It was very joyful, just a lot of emotions. So just that emotion is really still very present right now, this whole week.
Yeah, I imagine so. And what was it like in the city? Did you kind of experience any of them celebrations, or did you kind of do your own thing?
I could say hell on here, right?
Yeah, you can if you want, Jonathan.
It's not ESPN. I'm not going to get a ban. I'm not going to get a ban. Okay. Yeah, hell no. I was not going to go to downtown LA. I love my Lakers. I love my purple and gold. I've been repping for 30 years, but I wasn't going to go down there. It was madness down there. I'm going to wait until, a parade, hopefully when the pandemic settles down, and then we can all go to a Staples Center and celebrate. But I didn't want to go to downtown LA. I saw a video. I think there was this one guy that was hanging onto a traffic light, and he fell or something. It was just chaos.
I think he jumped off it.
Yeah, so I've been celebrating just at home, just with the rest of Lakers community. So it's been great times. Also forked a lot of money on pretty cool championship gear.
Yeah, that's nice. We just made that available in the not we, but the NBA Story U have just made that available over here. So I think we might see a few people around with that over here. I didn't get one. I've already bought too much.
I bet.
But
yeah, I know you guys had a show previously, but I didn't really get a chance to kind of hear like how you guys felt over in the UK.
Yeah, I mean, I'll let Cole, Jonathan, do you want to lead off with that? It was quite surreal for us, wasn't it, in the early hours in the group chat and everything?
Oh, this is absolutely crazy. I think it was the perfect culmination of the entire season. We've been, especially during the playoffs, like we've been up to about 5 o'clock in the morning every kind of game day, and it paying off in the end. And I think Kenny, you kind of covered basically everything. It was really just a culmination of what's happened throughout the entire season: losing Kobe, losing Gianna, having not even sure if the season was going to go ahead, not sure where the Lakers players and coaching staff and organization their head was going to be at after losing Kobe. But yeah, it just seems like kind of like a fairy tale ending. Obviously, it was a terrible season in so many ways, but it was kind of the fairy tale ending, but giving us a bit more closure on a season now, that we'll never forget, for good and for bad.
Well said.
It was surreal, really. I mean, I'm one of the few in our group chat in our little community that was up every single night from when the bubble started. So it's a nice relief for me to be able to sleep again and sleep soundly, knowing that we've won a championship. Obviously.
Yeah. Because the games usually start 3 a.m. for you guys.
2:30.
Yeah, I think a normal Lakers game day in terms of Staples Center game day is 3:30 a.m. traditionally in the UK. I'm an hour further on from that.
That's right.
But we had a few decent ones. I think was the final game 12:30? I think it was, wasn't it? Yeah, that's not bad. midnight.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's been crazy to digest it all, and obviously we're going to move into a little bit more conversation right now because the last podcast was just a bit all over the place. I did have some topics that we just did not keep to at all, so we're going to follow that on now.
Like now.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is, off the top of our heads, we're going to talk about the supporting cast, and we're going to put forward our top 3. Okay. Just kind of put forward your top 3, just a little bit of justification for each one, and then we'll move on throughout all 4 of us. I imagine they might be very similar, but it'll just be very interesting to see what each of us has, especially in that 3rd spot. I think that 3rd spot is going to be very interesting. I mean, we'll start with the guest. So, Kenny, have you who were your top 3 role players? There's quite a lot of them that stepped up.
There's a lot to choose from. I mean, automatically, I would say Caruso. But the thing is that everything that Caruso has done in the postseason, he has done during the course of the entire season. So I don't have to put him on that list. So automatically, off the top of my head, would be absolutely Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, KCP. He stepped up in a major way. I know up until the finals, I believe he was shooting the deep ball at least above 40% clip. So he, especially in the last game, he contributed mightily. And the second person I would have to say would be Dwight Howard, especially in the Denver series, where there was a critical game where he grabbed like 6 offensive rebounds in the first. I believe it was 5 or 6 offensive rebounds, just phenomenal numbers, and just his maturity about not playing nearly at all in the Houston series and then coming in Denver and just stepping up goes to show his maturity. And then the last one I would have to say Rondo, absolutely, especially in the finals game and game 6. He was on a whole another level. I mean, Vogel, I believe Vogel doesn't like it when people call him playoff Rondo because he feels that he does that the whole year, but he was just on another level. So it's hard to choose, but yeah, those would be my 3.
He definitely doesn't do it all year. But yeah, let's switch
Vogel's words, not mine. Vogel's words.
Let's switch over to Cole. What's your top 3?
Obviously, the first one you've got to mention is KCP. I did a bit of research, I'll be honest. I didn't go just off the top of my head. In the regular season, he averaged 9.3 points per game. In the finals, he was 12.8. So obviously, that's a massive difference. Game 4, he had a massive game. He was +8 in game 4. He got 15 points. He had a 5-0 run late in the game, the corner 3 and the layup that iced the game. So that was massive for us, obviously. Because there's a massive difference between 3-1, 2-all, obviously. Caruso obviously deserves a mention. Kenny mentioned him there, but I'll go into a bit more detail. In the regular season, Caruso had 5.5 points per game and 1.9 assists per game. In the playoffs, he upped that to 6.5 points per game and 2.8 assists per game. He averaged 1.1 steals throughout the playoffs, and just the energy he brings on both ends is massive for the team, obviously. Defensively, getting in the passing lanes, and then obviously on the fast break, he feels like that's his signature move, getting a ball in a passing lane and then going on the fast break and just dunking at the other end. And then let's talk about Rondo, playoff Rondo. I want to talk about win shares in this, which is an estimate of wins contributed by a player. And I want to talk about win shares per 48 minutes. The league average is a 0.1. During the regular season, Rondo had 0.68. During the playoffs, he had 0.144.
Wow.
Which is a massive improvement, obviously. His 3-point percentage went up from 33% to 40%. And throughout the finals, he averaged 8, 5, and 5, which is kind of a shadow of his old self, where he'd go for a triple double randomly in a random playoff game or a random finals game. He really brought it on both ends, and he showed that he obviously still has a place on a championship team.
Especially after a 6-month layoff, Rondo didn't play until since March, and obviously when he got to the bubble, he broke his hand. Was it? I forgot when it was, but that's after a 6-month layoff. So that's just phenomenal.
Definitely.
And then have you got a third player, or was that 3?
That was 3.
That was 3. Yeah, I thought it was. Really lost that there. Jonathan, what about you? Who are your 3?
I'm going to kind of cheating away with third. Like I have a 3-way tie in third. I've got Markieff, I got Dwight, and I've got AC.
Yeah, so
I think without the 3 of them, like we would have been in, especially I think Markieff for certain spurts, he gave us a different look that we didn't have. If we didn't want to force AD into the 5 spot, we had Markieff capable of stepping in at the 5 and be able to create some kind of floor spacing as well with him on the floor, which I thought was big. Gave AD and LeBron more room to maneuver in. AC was just AC all playoffs. Just like Cole said, getting into passing lanes, stealing the ball, creating havoc, just making people uncomfortable. That's his job. Yeah. Like he's not the most skilled player on the planet Earth, but at least there's very few people that are going to out hustle him. Like he's going to throw himself into different situations and make sure that they know he's on the floor. I guarantee you, in like the Houston series, James Harden knew that Alex Caruso was on the floor, and he gave him nightmares the entire series. So much so that they lost their GM and their coach. For that 3, that and Dwight Howard obviously didn't play particularly well in the NBA finals. Well, not from game 3 onwards, he wasn't great. But he was still a big player for us throughout the off season and throughout the postseason, and like he's been great. But number 2, I'm gonna go for KCP, and that means number 1 goes to Rondo. But yeah, KCP was brilliant. There's nothing short of just brilliance. Like he was, I think we all expected Kuzma maybe to be the 3rd star, with the potential behind him, with all the kind of all the reviews, strong word, kind of all the kind of the coaching staff and DeMarcus Cousins and AD and LeBron all really getting on saying like, no, Kuz is next. Like he's going to be our 3rd star come the playoffs. And unfortunately, he didn't show up for the latter part of the playoffs. But KCP did, and he came up huge. And number 1, I think it has to be Rondo. I think it would have been very difficult for the Lakers to win the NBA Finals if it wasn't for Rondo, and that's incredibly hard for me to say because I've always been very critical of Rondo during the regular season. I just didn't think he showed up at all. He held onto the ball for way too long, took way too many dribbles, didn't kind of pass the ball in the kind of the sequence of the offense, but he completely bought into his role. Like I think Jared Dudley said on the Bill Simmons podcast, that Rondo kind of came to a kind of realization in the bubble, realizing that he's playing a part. He's no longer he's still playoff Rondo, but he's no longer going to be producing at a ridiculously high level. But he can play a role and he can be elite in that role. And so Rondo has been absolutely fantastic in the playoffs. Great with 3-point shooting, great kind of getting into pass lanes and interrupting. Great with his assists off the bench, and it hurts me to say this, but I think Rondo was probably the best role player in the Lakers this season. Well, this postseason. I'm not going to give him the regular season. He's not getting that.
He had a phenomenal Game 6. the game clincher. So it's just wow.
Yeah. I think at one point it was just layup after layup after layup. But I think with mine, I think first Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. I think we all agree with that. I think he shot incredibly well throughout the series. Thought his defense was big when we played, elite guards. Portland with Lillard and McCollum, and then obviously Houston with Harden and Westbrook, and then obviously with Murray against Denver. And then even the young, backcourt that the Miami Heat had, I thought he was very big on the defensive end. That block on Hero, that chase down block, and I know that he swiped his head, but that was like one of my favorite plays of the entire playoffs. He shot well, even though he didn't shoot well through the finals. I thought it was quite interesting to see how he stepped in from the arc and started to create in other ways, which we hadn't really seen him do throughout the season. I just saw his turnaround to being, I think, the third best player on the team has been absolutely fantastic this season. And then Rondo would be my second. I think we've all said enough about him. Just to control the tempo of pace off the bench, them assists like Rondo does, and also the scoring. He shot very well throughout the playoffs. I think at one point he was shooting like 44%. I think it dipped to about 40 or 39 overall, but that's more than enough from him. That's he started to look confident at one point from 3-point land. It did dip a little bit in the finals, but that was huge for us. And it seemed like every single 3-pointer he hit was massive in the momentum of the game. And then my third, same with Jonathan, it was between Caruso, Dwight, and Markieff. I will go with it, bite my tongue, and I'm going to go with Markieff Morris. I thought that the change that was made in the Houston series for him to come into the starting lineup and go small, I thought completely added a new dynamic to us there. I'm not sure if we knew we had it or if the coaching staff knew we had it, but then when we ended up going small against Miami, we just dominated them. I think Markieff he led the Lakers in 3-point shooting in the postseason. He's just a tough player, like his brother. I think we need that energy, we need that grit, we need that grind, and I think we definitely have to bring him back as well. So that would be my top three. While we're here, should we give some other people some credit? We've got three names here. We've got Jeannie Buss, Frank Vogel.
Oh yeah.
Okay. The three names. We didn't actually plan to do this, but I'm gonna give you one name each. We were going to speak about them all together, but we could just go on for ages, and we need to get through some other things. So let's start with Jeannie Buss. Someone come out and take Jeannie Buss off my hands. Who wants to? Jonathan, straight in there. So what about Jeannie Buss? It's been quite a journey for her, and she's now the first woman owner to win an NBA championship.
It's such a 360 for Jeannie Buss this year. Obviously, at the start of the year when Magic left initially, and she kind of handed the reins to Rob Pelinka, she was absolutely chastised, and I think a lot of Lakers fans were like really questioning whether she was the right person to be the owner of this team going forward. And then obviously we had Kobe die, and then now we have a championship. So she's just had a roller coaster of a year. And I think she has really shown that she believes in her staff. She believes in the people she works with. And that's a valuable trait she has, is that she's willing to she knows what she knows, and she knows that other people like within her organization, like they're good at their role. She understood that Rob Pelinka in her mind was the right person to look after this franchise after Magic had left. And she was completely right. She was absolutely 100% right. And I think she's more than kind of lived up to Dr. Buss's as like she's not just his daughter anymore. She's very much her own person, but she carries on a legacy of her father and becomes a kind of a trailblazer like he was. She's a trailblazer as a female, as the first female owner in professional sports to win a championship, which is absolutely huge. And I think it just speaks to her as a person. She was under so much pressure throughout the year. She took it all in stride, she did what she possibly she did what she could to what she believed is the best for the organization by promoting Rob Pelinka and allowing him to make the decisions. She kind of agreed with Pelinka when it came to getting Coach Frank Vogel in there. So yeah, she deserves a lot of kind of plaudits and just well done, Jeannie.
Yeah.
You deserve this more than anyone. Well, not more than anyone. There's a lot of people that deserve this, but she definitely deserves to celebrate, and she deserves kind of the congratulations she's getting right now. Yeah,
definitely. And I'll let Kenny pick. Do you want to pick Frank Vogel or Rob Pelinka?
I love Frank, but I'm going to have to go with Rob Pelinka. You're talking about a man that I believe when he first took over with Magic, I believe Moscow still. Moscow. I believe he was still on contract. I have to verify, but he was left, for lack of a better word, a mess. And basically he took that mess along with, him and Magic. Really, it all started with, the signing of LeBron James and then trading for AD, when everyone was like, you're giving up way too many pieces to get Anthony Davis. And then in addition to that, signing Rondo, signing KCP, re-signing KCP, signing Dwight Howard, just all these people, all these players that
the Markieff Morris,
just everyone, they were just saying that you're doing it wrong. Why are you doing this? This doesn't make sense. Why are you re-signing Dwight Howard? It's never going to work. As John Ireland pointed out, they were all wrong. So in addition to that, in a season, obviously, where he lost his best friend and his goddaughter in a tragic accident, it just speaks volumes of what Rob Pelinka has done for this organization. John Ireland said that shortly after Kobe and Gianna's passing, Rob Pelinka sent out a very, very touching note to the Lakers organization, basically saying that where are we going to go from here is that now we are entrusted to be the torchbearers to Kobe and Gianna's legacy. And he has been phenomenal. And he hasn't even taken a single day off after that tragedy. And to put all that in perspective, to really lead this team to a championship, there's just not enough that we can say about what Rob Pelinka has done for this organization. So he deserves so much credit right next to Jeannie Buss.
Yeah, he definitely deserved more credit than one Executive of the Year vote or something. Yeah.
7th overall. That's criminal.
Terrible.
Ridiculous.
And then the Clippers guy got it.
Oh yeah.
Oh God, that's terrible. But I mean, the thing is it's like with the MVP award, Defensive Player of the Year award, we weren't fighting for them awards. We were fighting for an NBA championship, and it was all of these people that we're speaking about here that were pivotal in that. Obviously, the players do what they do, but these people orchestrate the moves. The franchise was dysfunctional not that long ago. Remember, this franchise missed out on the playoffs just not last season, because technically we won the championship last season now, but in that first season of LeBron, and the turnaround has been incredible, and obviously with the new head coach, Cole, what do you think about Frank Vogel? What do you make of him?
Well, it's another success story at the end of the day, just in the same vein as Jeannie and Rob, in that he walked into this job. He wasn't the first choice. There were names flying around in Monty Williams, and Jason Kidd was breathing down his neck apparently, and Tyronn Lue. He definitely wasn't the first choice for this role. And he came in, he was professional about it from the very beginning. He walked into his press conference with Rob Pelinka, and Magic had just stepped down, and Rob was constantly answering questions about that. And he still, at this point, was prepared to coach the young players and LeBron. He wasn't even planning to coach AD yet. And then they win the in my opinion, they win the AD trade. I think that's clear to say now. They win the AD trade, and the rest is kind of history at that point. I think it's really important to remember the fact that he had trust throughout the season and throughout the playoffs in both Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and Rondo, and it really did follow through in the end. It really does show, if you have trust in the right guys, it does prove you right in the end. And I think he really deserves credit for that, because I remember several times when I was up at 4 o'clock in the morning screaming at my TV to get Rajon Rondo off the floor, and it came through in the end. It came good in the end. So he definitely deserves credit for that, and just how he's led this coaching team, how he's led this whole team to an NBA championship when he walked into a situation and all that was around him was doubt.
Yeah, I think a huge shout out to the coaching staff as a whole. Obviously, Frank Vogel is not just one person that was responsible for them adjustments made, which I thought were really impressive. You know, this isn't a team that just stuck as it was and got through the playoffs. They adjusted, they adapted. Every single series was different to the next. You know, right down to the wire when they go and bring Alex Caruso into the starting lineup just out of nowhere. You know, if anyone was expecting a change, they weren't expecting that. The Heat probably certainly weren't either. So I think a huge shout out has to go to the coaching staff. I hope that they stay intact. Obviously, Phil Handy's very much in demand. Jason Kidd, obviously, it seems to be linked with every job under the sun. But I hope that, you know, if we lose one, so be it. Hopefully not Phil Handy. But we, you know, I just hope that coaching staff can kind of stay intact. What we're going to do now. Just
a quick shout out to Coach Hollins. I know he wasn't able to make the bubble, but he was phenomenal throughout the whole entire season. So absolutely a phenomenal coach.
Yeah. Did you see the picture of him with the trophy? I think they delivered the trophy to him, didn't they? Yesterday, I think, at the time.
Yeah, I've seen a picture.
Yeah, which is fantastic. And also shout out to Avery Bradley as well. I think Rob Pelinka rang Avery Bradley, did a FaceTime call straight after the championship win. His efforts are not ignored throughout the regular season. He was fantastic. It would have made us even stronger in the postseason. I'm sure he'll be back next season. It'll be great to get him back in the rotation. We're just going to go on to a couple of ads. I am. As you can see at the bottom, we've got a few sponsors. Going to start with Manscaped. Manscaped support the Late Late Show. They're the best in men's below the waist grooming. They offer precision engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped just launched in the UK, and you can be one of the first men over here to experience their life-changing products. Personally, with grooming products, I usually bounce around, find it quite difficult to find the right thing for me that I can stick with long term. The new and improved Lawnmower 3.0 is perfect for the job. You don't really need anything else. This is it right here. I've actually got one myself, obviously, as I'm speaking about it. It's a third generation trimmer that features a cutting edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents, which is obviously very important when we're speaking about that area. It has 7,000 RPM motor with quiet stroke technology. The battery will last up to 90 minutes. It's waterproof. You can use it in the shower. It's even got an LED light so you can see where you're going. I am not lying.
Wow.
It's a top quality product. You don't really need to go anywhere else. Here on the Late Late Show, we can offer you a unique promo code. You can get 20% off plus free shipping with the code LakersUK20 at manscaped.com. That's the code LakersUK20 at checkout for 20% off plus free shipping over at manscaped.com. Don't let your balls waste away in free agency. Secure that max contract with Manscaped. You won't regret it. Also, as you can see at the bottom as well with NBA Store EU, we all want championship merch. Some of us have already secured that championship merch.
Yes, we have.
Kenny?
Yeah.
Championship merch?
What are you talking about?
Give us a little show. Have you got that there?
Yeah, I got that. I already had this. I already ordered this on NBAstore.com, like right when it happened. But I was at the Lakers store. I was like, I might as well just pick up another set. I love these.
Yeah, they're cool.
they're great. Cute, right?
Obviously,
Yeah, I got more of the other stuff too.
Oh, we've got a little show in here.
Oh, here we go.
This is pretty cool, to be fair. I mean, for the guys listening, you won't see it, but Kenny's just showing his T-shirt with the cartoons on. He's showing a
towel. They won't see it. Oh man.
I can see that. The guys
they won't see my Clipper flag then. JK.
But the T-shirts, them cartoon ones, you can get on NBA Store EU. They also do the championship T-shirts that the team were wearing during the trophy presentation. The hats were available for a short period of time. They might come back up. There's just a whole host of championship gear, and also they've restocked with some jerseys and just all sorts. With Lakers UK, you can get 10% off your order with the promo code Lakers UK 10. You just have to do something else before. Head over to www.lakersuk.com/partners. There you can select the relevant link, which is NBA Store EU, and it'll direct you to the store where you can use the promo code Lakers UK 10 at checkout for 10% off your order. It can be used on already discounted items too, so just take advantage of that, especially at this time when we're all trying to secure that championship merch. You might as well. You're literally saving money. So jump on that. Right, so as we continue on with this, we're doing something else for this last segment. So we've all of a sudden yesterday at the time of recording, which was Thursday, we were hit with just bombshell after bombshell after bombshell in the NBA world. So yeah, we're not obviously going to talk about the other NBA bombshells that were dropped. We're going to talk about the ones about the Lakers. We have AD has opted out of his contract, but he's re-signing.
Oh no, he opted out. Thanks to Guillermo on Jimmy Valentine.
He's supposed to be re-signed anyway. That's what the report by Sham says. But then also there's been news that Rondo and KCP are both opting out to test free agency. Right. Obviously, there's mutual interest from the Lakers there, as there is with both players with the franchise. We'll just have to wait and see how that goes. They're both definitely outplayed the value of the contracts. Right. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with Jonathan, who's going to speak about AD opting out and re-signing. What do you make of that news? Obviously, it was very, very welcome to all of us in Lakeland.
It's kind of like the cherry on top of like the Sunday. We just won the championship. That was the Sunday, and then AD just basically saying like, yeah, I'm running this back is amazing. Obviously, it's arguable that AD was the best player for the Lakers this offseason or this championship run. Like LeBron was amazing, but AD on the defensive end was just locking people up left and right, just taking up, guarding Jimmy, guarding James Harden, guarding everyone he possibly could and locking them down. Like he was the difference maker in the vast majority of these series. Obviously, LeBron got his fourth Finals MVP, and it's well deserved. He basically averaged a triple-double. But yeah, AD is both the Lakers' present and the future, and to lock him up potentially long term is going to be amazing. Like he has, I think, according to Eric Pincus, he has a couple of options he can go with. He can go with a 2-year contract for $68 million, which would be a 1-on-1 deal with a player option in year 2. He can go for a 3-year, $106 million deal with 2 years plus player option on the 3rd year, or he could go for a 4-year, $146 million with a 3-year and 1-year player option. If I was him, it'd more than likely be the 3-year deal that he's probably going to take, like a 2-and-1. It probably gets his contract in line for us. Allows us to kind of bring in more free agents when LeBron eventually retires or leaves the Lakers. It means we have AD under contract. AD will have reached his 10th year, meaning that he can sign up for basically a supermax at this stage. That'll be perfect for him. That'd be perfect for us to lock him up. And then when LeBron leaves, we can kind of potentially get 2 more superstars to put around AD, and just another super team and more championships could be incoming. But yeah, amazing that AD is signed. Is going to re-sign. Hopefully, we can get him for. I wouldn't be mad about the 1-on-1 deal. because if, say, for example, if anything did go wrong over the course of the next year or so, but it's not going to happen.
Stop that! I don't want to hear that.
Yeah,
okay.
But at least,
okay.
At least with 3 years, there's a bit of security there for both him and for the Lakers. Gets him his max money when he gets to his 10th year. It gives the Lakers a lot of kind of clout when it comes to going into free agent meetings, basically saying, we got AD, like, you join us, you're automatically going to be a championship contender. And if LeBron potentially takes a pay cut, which there's been rumors that he's willing to take a pay cut if it meant a third superstar could join the Lakers, then we're in prime position to keep this championship window open and running. So yeah, that'd be amazing. So yeah, AD, so re-signing with the Lakers was absolutely just a cherry on top of the sundae for all Lakers fans and for the Lakers organization. So we're, yeah, all clearly very thrilled about that.
Yeah, I think go on, Kenny.
Oh, I was just gonna say, if he does qualify for the Supermax with the Lakers in the contract after this one, he really recoups all the money that was left on the table when he left the New Orleans. So it's a win-win. It's a win-win. So
yeah, I think I personally think we're looking at that 2+1 where it brings him up to that 10 years service, like Kenny said, so we can go and get that Supermax contract, and also it just gives him that little bit of security as well as the Lakers. But obviously with him, we've seen what happened to DeMarcus Cousins. We've seen that injuries can happen at any point. It would definitely secure that, how much would it be without that final year to opt out? What, like 80 million, 70 million, something like that, like a heck of a lot of money either way. So I think that's probably like the best of both worlds. So I think realistically, that's probably what we're going to see, which I'm absolutely fine with. We definitely get him for the next 2 years and then we can go from there. But from what it looks, from what it seems, he's where he wants to be. He forced his way out of New Orleans to be at the Lakers. He's just won a championship with the Lakers. All the stars have aligned. The best thing that could have possibly happened has happened. And I think, he's he kind of feels like he's one of our own, but he isn't.
Yeah, I understand that.
AD, it feels like we kind of like have nurtured him from a young age, and we haven't.
No, but like he's been amazing for us this season. Yeah. I think he surpassed all expectation. Like when we handed over Lonzo and BI and Josh Hart in the 4th overall pick, I think every single one of us in this group here were probably like, oh, that's really steep. And then with all the pick swaps, we were probably saying to ourselves, God damn, like that's a lot. Because I think we all to a certain extent fell into the media narrative of AD is injury prone. Oh, well, he's not a real superstar. He's just a big fish in a small pond. But then the second he got over to the Lakers, he dominated from the get-go. And he just showed the rest of the world that he can stay healthy, he can dominate, and he is going to be the future of this Lakers franchise. Obviously, we'd love to have wait another, well, I wouldn't want to wait for another year for a championship. But obviously, we would have loved for BI and Lonzo and all them guys being on the roster and then going for like AD this summer. That would have been incredible. But we got our championship early. So, yeah, I'm not going to complain too much about that. And I think at the end of the day, compared to the Paul George deal, I think we're looking pretty damn good. So I'm not going to complain.
Well, I mean, with that said, I knew it was a steep price. But at the end of the day, if you have the opportunity to acquire someone of the caliber of Anthony Davis, you do it. And I'm sure you guys agree with that, too. So it worked out really, really well. And
he's definitely proved his quality at this point. He's joined an elite group of Lakers big men to win championships, and he definitely belongs there.
Yeah, and broke a lot of records in the process. Whilst we're going to stay with Cole right now, obviously Rajon Rondo has opted out. Well, he's going to opt out of his contract. Obviously, I think he was just on like a veteran minimum. I think maybe 2.6 million is the number that's floating around my head. I'm not sure if that's accurate, but
he made 2.5 this season, and he's leaving 2.6 on the table to go into free agency, basically.
Yeah, his market is clearly a lot higher than that now. Probably was anyway, to be honest. What do you make of that news with Rondo opting out?
Well, obviously, it's never great to see a player want to test free agency when they're under contract with your team. But also, at the end of the day, it's Rondo is a player that obviously showed up massive for us in the playoffs. But throughout the season, there were massive droves of Lakers fans that wanted rid of him. And at the end of the day, he's gonna go into his last kind of free agency class where he's got a chance to make any kind of real money, searching for a kind of mid-level exception kind of deal. And I've seen a couple of teams floating around online in Denver, Philly, and Boston. Another one I think is a perfect fit is the Bucks if they can manage to strike a deal with CP3. If we strike a deal, then he's more than welcome to walk, to be honest. But at the end of the day, I'm not really threatened by what Rondo's saying because obviously he's hunting for a contract. If it doesn't come to fruition, I'm sure he's more than welcome back here, and I'm sure he's more than happy to re-sign with us. And if he does walk, in my eyes, we've got a more than competent replacement in Caruso. If he can step up the way he can run the floor when, say, LeBron's off the floor, if he can step that up this season, then he could really step into that role quite comfortably. The thing with Caruso is obviously he's more than willing to perform all season, whereas Rondo wasn't willing to do that. And that's the kind of guy we kind of need as LeBron gets older, especially, to take minutes off LeBron's legs and kind of put it onto someone else to run the floor a bit more. Obviously, if Rondo wants to come back, he's more than welcome. But if not, we'll live without it.
Yeah, I think the regular season performances is what worries me. You kind of get in a player for like not half of the campaign, because obviously the regular season is a very long period of time. But in terms of the two sides of the season, we do need. At times we really struggled without a ball handler in the regular season. And I think if you go and we won't get into what can be done and all the trades that can be made, but just long story short, there are moves that can be made out there. There are names that can be bought in to kind of fill that. Like you said, I think Caruso improved incredibly as a ball handler, and I think he could definitely step up more next season under a very cheap contract as well. So yeah, I can understand him hitting free agency. I hope that we can kind of strike a deal with him, but if he all of a sudden decides to kind of price us out, I really don't have a problem with just walking away, thanking for his service, and on to the next one.
Rondo?
Yeah, Rondo. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It seems like he probably wants a multi-year deal. I'm getting a feeling that he wants
multi-year.
Yeah, that
wants like 1 or 2 years. I don't think the Lakers can give him that.
No, it makes sense. I think with that said, that Caruso has definitely shown that he's capable of producing when he has more time, especially in Game 6 when he was a starter. He led the team in plus and minus. But also with that said, we've also seen in the playoffs how important it was that that LeBron does have a primary ball handler in someone like Rondo, in addition to Caruso. So Rondo would, like you guys said, it would be nice for him to come back, but obviously at the right price. And we also have to remember, I believe that, in my opinion, that a lot of Rondo's efficiency and productivity is the chemistry that he has with Anthony Davis. Mm-hmm. And that was clearly shown in the postseason. So let's say if he does go somewhere else, some of the other teams that Cole was suggesting, like Philly or I don't know, the other teams, is he going to have that same type of chemistry, and is he going to be as effective? I don't know.
That's something I found quite interesting when I was looking into it, is the fact that I think Rondo's obviously bounced around the league for a couple of years, and now he's in this position where he's got this group of guys that really trust him. And if he goes anywhere else, he's going to struggle to find that, I think, at this point. He kind of clashes he's obviously clashed over the last few seasons with a lot of coaches, with a lot of other players. And I think he's kind of found the perfect situation here. And I think for him to walk away from that and find money elsewhere, it could really go on its head for him quite quickly, I think. But obviously, it's his decision at the end of the day.
Yeah.
With that said, that just reminded me of that one play, I believe where LeBron James embraced Rondo in his arms. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And then obviously when the game ended as well, they were like straight up to each other, and it was quite nice to see. But the NBA moves on. It's a very fluid league, especially nowadays. Players come and go. I think it's similar with the Dwight Howard situation. We won't get into it too much because that's potentially a player going else. Where I don't think he will, but I think he's linked with Golden State. I think he's very much at this stage of his career just won a championship. He's very much found a home. I think you really need to be difficult. It's really difficult. You need to be very careful to think that the grass is greener elsewhere, and I think that does fall with Rondo as well. But let's move on to KCP. Obviously, him opting out was actually. I was really sad when I saw that. I thought his contract was enough to keep him on. I kind of forgot that his performances throughout the postseason was elevating his market, which was a huge shame. Not for him, but for us. I think we will actively look to try and secure him, even if it means paying a little bit more. But Jonathan, what do you think about the KCP opting out news?
Yeah, I really wasn't surprised at all that he opted out. Like he was, like we've been talking about during the podcast, he was the Lakers' third star this offseason. He was just incredibly consistent, played good defense. Like we won't hold him getting bodied by Jimmy Butler against him, but like he was, apart from that,
in one game. In one game.
Yeah, but apart from that, he was excellent, and he definitely deserves the money that's going to be coming his way. I think the first one of the main teams that was kind of linked to him is the Atlanta Hawks, and they have another clutch line over there in Trae Young. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if this is kind of, to a certain extent, a power play by Rich Paul saying like, "Oh, I want to kind of get my hands on another team, like an up and coming team in Atlanta, basically like the southern version of the Lakers." But he's definitely earned his money, and we need to remember he's not like the likes of Rondo or Dwight Howard. He's 27 years old or 28 years old. He's in the prime of his absolute life, and he's got plenty of time to kind of. He deserves another contract. He doesn't deserve to be on kind of 1 year's. I think he understands with the Lakers. The Lakers are looking to get another big player in 2021. Ideally, it would be Giannis. Would be the guy we chase. But I think he needs to a certain extent, has now won his ring. He probably wants to look after himself financially going forward. And if the Atlanta Hawks are willing to pay, give him good money to go over there, I think he's well within his right. He's done fantastically for us over the last couple of years. He's one of the longest tenured Lakers left in the roster. But it'd be sad to see him go. Hopefully we can keep him. And if we can get him for a decent price, but apart from that, I think we're in a good position to potentially keep him. But it wouldn't shock me whatsoever if he was to go.
Yeah, I think just with how well he did for the Lakers and the turnaround, I think that effect just stays with Laker Nation forever. Really, I think he is very much adored by fans at this point. He is very much a fan favorite. In terms of that supporting cast. I think it'll be very interesting because the Lakers have overpaid KCP in previous years. It'll be very interesting if some of that loyalty kind of comes back in this. And I think he is looking to get paid more, but maybe if he takes a bit of a cut to stay with the Lakers. But like a lot of them out there, they're human. I think KCP's got a very young family. If there is like a multi-year deal there, let alone a 3-4 year deal for however much ridiculous money in today's NBA, you really can't blame him. I hope he doesn't. I love a bit of KCP now. I hope he does stay, but it's going to be very interesting to say that, especially with the Lakers not being able to hand out multi-year deals because they need that flexibility in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. KCP declined his $8.5 million player option, like you guys are saying. And to what Jonathan was saying, that because he has been with the Lakers for 3 years, he does qualify for the bird right, which will allow him to get a 1 year increase a slight increase in pay if he does resign with the Lakers, and just getting a sense of the Laker brass with Pelinka and Jeannie Buss. They're very human. They're very human. So in my opinion, I think they would want to give him that salary increase as a means to thank him for his service this year. But we'll have to see. At the end of the day, these players need to do the best for themselves and their family. So whether or not it's going to be with the Lakers or another team, that remains to be seen.
I think the real key is to make sure that you can give KCP that salary increase, obviously. And as Kenny was saying, we've got a very human front office. And obviously, we hold the bird rights on him so we can exceed the cap to do that. But as long as you make that contract tradable in the future, that's a possibility. That's something we can look to do at the end of the day. As long as it's a realistic contract and it's a tradable contract, I'd be more than happy to give him that kind of money, because obviously we want to leave our free agency slot open for Giannis in the future. Is a name that pops into your head, obviously. And if we can re-up KCP and give him a bit more money into a place where he is happy to stay with this team and contend for a title next season, because obviously we want to work season by season. We want to make sure we're in contention next season. He's a massive part of that. If we can re-up him and give him the right kind of number and the right number of years, so that another team can see that as a potential trade piece for them and they'd be happy to trade for it, then I'm more than happy to give him that. But anything that exceeds that, then I'm more than happy to see him walk and get his money at the end of the day that he well and truly deserves. But yeah, the front office just need to be really careful and make sure that however KCP performs in the coming season, if they reopen, that they make sure it's a number that is tradable. Otherwise, we see ourselves in a really bad shapes heading into the next free agency.
Yeah.
Great point.
Another big thing that could be really kind of we could potentially find out early in the off season. If Giannis re-ups with the Bucks, then I think that's pretty much I think Rondo. If Giannis just says, yeah, I'm going to take my super max and I'm going to take my 4 years and potentially give himself an opportunity to, even if he wants to get traded at some point, he can. But I think it all depends on this year. Is probably, even though he's not a free agent this year, this is still probably the summer of Giannis. A lot of teams are going to base the salary cap,
definitely.
About what they're going to do for 2021 over what Giannis is going to do this offseason. If he re-ups with the Bucks for 4+ years, then the Lakers probably give Rondo and they give KCP. They probably pay Dwight Howard. They probably pay all the guys to come back. But if he just declines the option and says, no, I'm going to be a free agent in 2021, maybe KCP gets a big 1 year inflation deal like he did previously. Like you get 1 year, $16 million, which could be happy with that. And Rondo could probably get the same, like a 1 year, $10 million. Just go over the cap to pay them for the 1 year, keep them happy for the single year, and then go into 2021 with basically a clear slate apart from LeBron and AD. So yeah, there's different options the Lakers can go with, but I tend to agree. It's going to really be about Giannis and what he wants to do, because just even the thought of Giannis, LeBron, and AD on one team is ridiculous. That is just insane.
Oh, yeah.
At the end of the day, you can give these guys whatever number they ask for as long as that contract's tradable. And that's what Rob will be thinking, obviously. If he can move that contract somewhere else, it doesn't matter what number it is. That's the careful balance at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think so. Well, we're going to leave it there. I think we've gone through a lot of what I think we probably should have in the last episode, but we just didn't. It's been.
You're waiting for me.
Yeah,
definitely.
Right? Kidding.
You really do appreciate you joining us, Kenny. we'll get you back on soon. We've got plenty of off-season plans as well. So, we'll be reaching out very soon. Before you go, I'm sure people know where to find you, but do you want to give yourself a little bit of a shout out with your social media channels and what you're up to?
Yeah, you guys can find me at LakeShowScoop on Twitter and Instagram. What I'm up to, really just embracing the championship high since Sunday. But you could see me just, posting stuff on those channels. So go ahead and check it out.
Yeah, definitely. He is
like Tupac said, I'm not hard to find.
yeah, must follow LakeShowScoop on Twitter and Instagram. You don't really need to go elsewhere. Well, you do. Lakers UK, you need to go to as well. But yeah, Jonathan Cole, do you want to quickly sign off? Where can people find you?
You can find me on Jonathan K NBA on Twitter. JONATHANK NBA.
You can find me at Cole Pollard NBA on Twitter, and I don't need to spell it because it's a meme now. We're just following on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like a regular thing now. I should in my head I was like, and I'm not going to spell it. Yeah. Right, we'll leave it there. Thanks a lot, guys, for joining us. I'll just sign this one off, and we'll go from there. If to the listeners, no, actually, going to quickly get it in there. Nearly forgot to give our Patreon members a shout out. A huge thank you to our Patreon members: Amandeep, Fardi, both Jonathans, Benjamin, Massimo, Cole, Adam, Phil, and Steve. Your support is very much appreciated. If you're interested in supporting us whilst unlocking the full Lakers UK community plus perks, visit www.patreon.com/LA Lakers UK. To the listeners, if you enjoyed the show, be sure to tell some of your Laker friends about it. You can find the Late Late Show on all major podcast platforms. Please follow, like, and share where possible, and leave a review. Be sure to follow Lakers UK over on Twitter and Instagram under LA Lakers UK. Check out our website, LakersUK.com, and we'll catch you next time.
Wait. One last question. The biggest question. What is going to happen to Jared Dudley? Where is he going to be next year? Is he going to be in a purple and gold jersey?
Yeah,
he's coming back.
He said it already.
Yeah.
He's going to be on
probably at Rob and Jeannie's place right now. Right?
I think he said that on the Bill Simmons podcast.
Yeah. He's been phenomenal for the team with the veteran leadership, and we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, definitely. Right, guys. I'm not going to do that again. We'll
get the Lakers UK merch.
Get the Lakers UK merch as well.
Yeah.
He says that he holds up non-Lakers UK merch.
I know.
What's going on?
Right. The listeners probably going to be bamboozled on the podcast platforms. Leave it there. We'll catch you next time. Thanks for joining us, guys. Everyone, have a great weekend.
Bye.